In this video, I'm going to discuss VPC. That's a virtual private cloud. So that's private space in the AWS. So if you put some servers inside this VPC, this is where you can control traffic in and out. So in the last video, we discussed difference between AWS regions, availability zones, and data centers. So in this video, I'm going to discuss VPC so that you can understand where we use where where we use those data center regions availability zones. So you can get a clear picture. So assume this is a VPC. I'm gonna call it just VPC. And in this VPC, I'm going to create subnets. So subnet is nothing but just dividing a big network into pieces. So for better manageability, and this is a so I'm gonna call it this is public subnet, and assume it this one as private subnet. So in this private subnet, we are going to create public and private. We're going to create in both subnets. This is we're going to create EC2 machines, okay? And that is one in public and this one in private. So this is EC2 and this is EC2 as well. And then actually how traffic moves. So imagine you created public subnet, private subnet, and you created one of the EC2 machines in public subnet. You are trying to connect it to this machine from internet. Then how you can reach, because when you in this case assume you got a public IP, so I'm going to call it in short public IP. Then you're trying to connect to this machine using this public IP. How you can reach it actually? So just imagine this is internet, and you have a laptop here. So this is your laptop. You are trying to reach this machine. Whenever you're trying to reach, it goes to the request. It goes to internet. So let me label it. This is internet, and then from here it comes the request to internet gateway. So we have a component internet gateway in AWS VPC. So in short, I'm going to call it IGW. Such that's internet gateway. So the request comes from internet to here. So IGW, and then from here where it goes. So that's where we have a route table. So we can create public and private route tables. So I'm going to explain what is route table as well. And this one, assume it as public, I'm going to call it public RT route table, RT transfer. And this one is private route table. So imagine as we said, we call this one as public subnet. That means we are going to connect to this public subnet to this public RT. So and this public RT to IGW. Of course, we're going to see this in practical, but try to understand this diagram first. And this private subnet goes to private route table, okay? And why do we need a private? Oh, I call it private, okay? Sorry, it's private. So how it one if you why we need private subnet? So imagine you are working at Amazon. So Amazon, of course, they have database. So they don't want to put the database in public internet because they don't want to expose it. So they usually keep it in private subnet. So whenever someone try to reach this private subnet, private EC2 machine or database, they can't reach it from the internet because that's a private, because they don't have internet access to it. So if this machine wants to update some things, then how you gonna use how are they are going to connect? Either you can for temporary you can connect it to public route table, but that's not the safest way. So that's why we got a NAT gateway, okay? Even our in our home router acts as a NAT. So that's a NAT gateway. So whenever some machines in private subnet trying to reach the internet, the private route table, they usually go to NAT gateway. So they connect to a NAT gateway, and this NAT gateway, one end connects to this private subnet, and the other end connects usually connected to this public route table or public subnet. Actually public subnet, because we need to choose that one while creating. So that usually from NAT gateway to public subnet, and this public subnet has a route table that connects to internet gateway. And this if someone tries to reach from the internet to this private subnet, this private machine, it doesn't work, because this NAT gateway only allows traffic from this private subnet to internet. And if it starts the traffic from here, then it goes out, and the same way it gets in. But if someone tries to connect to this your private machine from internet, it comes to internet gateway, then public route table, then NAT gateway. But NAT gateway blocks here. So that's the security we got with the NAT gateway. And this NAT gateway has comes with elastic IP. So that's a permanent IP. So elastic IP, that's a public IP. So that's how it works. So let's see this in action. Let's go to AWS, click on create VPC. I'm going to choose VPC only, and I'm going to name it as just VPC. We need to choose CIDR range, so I'm going to choose 192.168.0.0/16. We discussed this, what is this in subnet mask and subnets. Just if you have doubts still, just watch that video. And then I'm gonna leave it as default and create VPC. Okay, we created VPC, and then I'm gonna create subnets. We need one public and one private, so here we need to choose our VPC, and then subnet, I'm gonna call it as public subnet. Yeah, here we discussed earlier availability zone. So here we can choose. That means if you choose this 2A, 2B, 2C, these locations, that's going to be physical locations we discussed. Just go through that video. So I'm just going to leave it as no preference, so it automatically choose. Here it says let Amazon choose one of you, and then subnet. Sorry, this is IPv4 CIDR block. Okay, that's a VPCs. Then we need to choose subnet side. So 192.168, I'm gonna choose 1.0/24, and then I'm gonna create one more subnet. I'm gonna call it as private subnet. You can name it anything, but just put meaningful name. And here 192.168.2.0/24. Okay, we got subnets, and we need route table. Okay, and then NAT gateway, we're going to see the NAT gateway later. So let's create a route table. Okay, whenever you create a VPC, it automatically creates a route table for us as well. So I'm not going to use this default one. So let's create a route table. I'm going to say it as public RT, choose VPC, and create. And then I'm going to create another one. Let's say this private RT, and this one. Okay, if you go to any of the route tables, what you can see actually, so here we got routes. So this is where we can define the where the traffic should go, and we can see that 192.168.0.0/16, and you can see that in this route table as well. So that means these availability zone, they usually connected with high speed fiber cables, as I said in the last video. And that's why these public or private, whichever subnets you're going to create, they usually connected by default. That's why you can see that see that route in that route table. It says local. You can see it says local because you can't delete it, because it comes by default, and it's you can't delete this. It's mandatory. So that means whenever you put something, if you try to reach from this machine to this machine, you can reach it because they are connected locally. So that's what it means actually. Now we created public and private route tables as well. Now let's create an EC2 machine. So I'm going to create two EC2 machines. I'm going to use Linux machines, Ubuntu. So I'm going to say public EC2, okay? Ubuntu. And T2 micro is fine, that comes under free tier. And then I need to, I don't have key pair, so I'm going to create one. I'm going to call it Ohio key. And that's, I chose PEM key. So it's been downloaded. Then let's go to click on edit here in under network settings, choose a VPC. So for this one I'm going to choose public subnet. That looks fine. I'm going to enable public IP because I want to connect to it. And then security group, we're going to discuss security groups in later lectures when we discuss EC2, but for now just create a security group, just allow port 22. That looks fine. So that's just leave everything as is. Okay, we created one. I'm gonna create another machine. I'm gonna call it private EC2. Just choose Ubuntu and then D2 micro. Just use the key pair we already created. Ohio, that looks fine. And then edit, just VPC. Here let's choose private subnet and enable public IP as well. Just choose the select a security group we created earlier, launch this one, and then launch an instance. Just refresh it. If I click on public EC2, it says initializing, click on status alarms. It's just gonna take a while. And then once it is up, if you try if you click, just choose this one, public one, and then click on details. Here you can see public IP. That means you can use this IP address to connect. So copy it, open Windows Explorer, and then downloads. You can use any SSH client, but I'm using just git bash. I already installed it. You can install it if you want. You can just look for git bash and download for Windows, and then install it. Just that's it. Then once you install that, just go to your downloads folder. Here you can see your wire key. Just right click anywhere in here. Just click on git bash here. Then what's the command to connect? If you don't know how to connect, you can click on connect, and then you can choose SSH client, and here it gives a command. But here what I'm going to do is SSH -i, give that key name, and the default user is Ubuntu for this Ubuntu machine in AWS, and then paste the public IP. And here you're not able to reach. Then why nothing happens? Because you created EC2 machine. Of course, we created subnets, public subnets, private subnets, public route, private route, and NAT gate. We didn't create NAT gateway. We're gonna come this to later. And we got IGW and everything. Why we are not able to reach? So because we created that But here, if I let's go to VPC again. If you go to Internet Gateway, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to create. Okay, if I test IGW, and once you create it, then attach to this VPC. So that means we created IGW and we attached to this VPC. Okay. If I try to reach it now, even though I created IGW, still I'm not able to reach. Why? Because we need to define this in route table. Okay. We need to tell that route table. Okay. Whenever someone tries to reach other than 192.168 traffic, just forward the traffic to this IGW. So we need to tell that. So how are you going to do? What you can do? Just come to route tables, public and click on routes and click on edit routes. So as of now we can see only local traffic. So other than this, so someone tries to visit other than this range, just I'm going to put 000. That means other than this, go to IGW, Internet Gateway. You can see Internet and you can see Gateway because we attached that Internet Gateway to our VPC, and click on Save Changes. Now let's go. Let's now try to. If I try to do it now, still I can't reach. Why? Because we created that route table and we created that route in the route table, and we forwarded that 00 traffic to IGW. Still we are not able to reach because we need to tell that. So whenever we create a public route table, but we need to associate these subnets to this route table. We didn't do that, right? So once you do that, then you can reach. Of course, we need to open that security group port 22. We already did. So we're gonna come to that later. Then what we can do, just click on route table, and here you can see route table as subnet association. Click on that. At the moment you don't see any subnets. Click on edit subnets and choose that subnet. Okay. Okay, and before doing this test, just make sure to open port 22 on your security groups we created earlier. Of course, I did that already. Just make sure. Let's check that. So if you click on this one, you can see inbound role port 22. We opened it. Okay, just to make sure. Of course, we are going to all of these EC2 topics in future lectures. So if I try to reach that now, I'm able to reach. So we are in that machine now. So let's try ping google.com. So I'm able to reach it to the internet as well. Okay, this has been done. Then what about this private EC2 machine? So as I said, these are locally connected. So what does it mean actually? So if I okay, let's try to connect it to that private machine from the internet. And before that, let's associate that private subnet with private route table. So let's go to private RT, click on routes. Okay, that's we don't have IGW, that looks fine. But subnets, click on edit subnet and choose private subnet. Now let's go to EC2, the open downloads, git bash here, and then SSH -I, that key name, username is Ubuntu, and let's put private public IP. See, this I call it private EC2. That's a label tag. Even though it has public IP, I'm not able to connect because because that's in this private route table do not have a route to the internet. That's why. So here, this private RT, it contains that subnet, private subnet, and this routes, it has only local, so it's not able to reach internet. That's why even though it has public IP, but still you can't connect it to it. So that looks fine for now. Let's come back to this again. We already connected to this machine. So if I try to connect it to that machine, let's see whether we are able to reach. Let's use private IP. Oh, come over here. Let's choose private IP. See, I can see that because I'm able to reach. Of course, I didn't supply key. That's why it just denied. But I'm able to reach, right? So if you want to connect, you can. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create. I'm going to get the private key. I do have that in local machine, so I'm going to call it as key. Let's get this key. Click on here. Open with edit notepad plus plus or a notepad. I'm just gonna say control A, control C. Come back to this terminal. Let's try this. Control C, up arrow, and paste it. Enter and control C. That's it. If you do ls, these are Linux commands. So if you don't know what are these, we have videos on this Linux basic Linux commands as well in our channel. So I can see the key. Now we need to change permissions for this key because otherwise it gives an error of. Let's check that. So I'm gonna supply -I and the key. It says permission issue. That's why we need to change permissions of that key, chmod 400 and that file name. Now let's rerun. So I'm in that private machine now. So what I did actually, I connected to from my laptop to this public sub EC2, and then from here I connected to this private EC2. Now if I run any command, if I do ping google.com, see, I'm not able to reach because this one is not connected to internet. So just imagine if I have to do update. So for instance, if I need to run apt update, so for to patch this machine, so I'm not able to reach the internet. What I can do actually, I can for temporarily I can associate this private EC2 private subnet to this public RT, but that's not what we want because we don't want to expose. So in this case, we can use NAT gateway. So let's see that. So let's jump back here, click on create NAT gateway, and here my NAT, and here we need to choose select a subnet in which to create. That means whenever you choose that subnet, I'm going to choose public subnet. That means literally uh, this NAT gateway creates in here actually, but I just wanted to show in diagram to understand to better. That's why I drawn it outside of that subnet because we can create that NAT gateway in here. That's why it asks for which subnet you want to create. That's why just choose public subnet. Okay, and then connectivity type we want public, and then if we don't have any elastic IP, so just click on allocate. It creates an elastic IP and create NAT gateway. And then how you can tell that private subnet to reach this NAT gateway, that comes in route table. Then go to route table and then choose private route table and click on routes, edit, and other than this 192 this local traffic, that means 00 goes to, we use the internet gateway for public route table. Here I'm going to use NAT gateway. So click on NAT gateway and click on save changes. Now if I try to run apt update again, okay, because I got it now. Because in uh, in security group we need to open outbound traffic. It seems okay. That looks fine. Let's jump back here. Let's rerun. Maybe it's gonna take a while. Yes, it's gonna take a while. I'm sorry, I forgot. Because NAT gateway takes a bit of time to create, so it seems pending. So once it is running ready, then you can reach the internet. So this way, but if someone tries to reach this from outside, this NAT gateway doesn't allow, as I said. So it's gonna drop the traffic here. So thus the security comes with NAT gateway. So let's see. Yeah, it says available now. If I try to run the apt update command, now I can see. Even though it has NAT gateway, if someone tries to reach that our private machine from outside, it doesn't allow. So what I'm going to do, SSH, let's paste that. So still you can't reach it. That's the security comes with NAT gateway. I hope this one clears your doubt. Just of course, just practice this multiple times to understand it better. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching.